Hey, faithful few.
And welcome back to DMS Adventures.
Well, we're a little sour that the shed doesn't have power. Well, you faithful few, if you managed to make it through our Solar Power Box series, you know that one of the reasons why we made that Solar Power Box was to provide some power down here at our shed. So I had no desire to run power all the way from there, down the backyard tree, all the way to the shed. So instead, I picked up two 100-watt Bouge RV bifacial solar panels to provide some power collecting prowess to the shed. One of those panels will be installed right on this side, and then the other one will be on the other side of the roof. That way is east, so one panel will pick up some really good morning sunshine. Both should pick up afternoon sunshine, and one of them should be getting some pretty good evening sunshine. And we will eventually get to the installation of those solar panels up on the roof there. But first, we've got to wire up the shed because there is no wiring here. So we're gonna put in some outlets, some switches. We're gonna install some lights up here in the deck ceiling area. We're gonna get a light switch put in right here for those lights. Gonna have a outlet down here, an outlet down at the other end. And that'll give us a few options while we're down here, you know, hanging out at the campfire. We can get a cooler down here plugged in, running. We can have some lights for when it gets dark, and we can plug in a bug zapper to keep the bugs away. So let's head inside the shed and take a look at what we're working with. This is an Amish built shed, which is just to say it's made very well. We've got 2x4 construction, nice thick plywood. They did a good job of getting siding on it and even aluminum wrapped all of the trim. Well, we got it all cleared out here over the last couple days. We actually repainted the floor. I had a black paint on here that was not very good at all. And so we got some patio deck paint, and the Rugged Mountain siblings and I came out and got this painted up nice. We're not out here to make like a tiny home or anything like that. It's still gonna be used as a shed. We're gonna have our bikes and garden tools and, you know, mowers and stuff like that out here. But one of the main things that we want to do is to be able to have our garden tools, like the lawnmower, that is run with batteries, have those batteries be able to be charged up down here. So I've got kind of all the stuff already purchased. Everything is kind of laid out where it's gonna go. The only thing left to do really is to actually start wiring things up and putting them in place. Another thing we need to do is I'm gonna install a shelf here in this corner to set the charging thingies for the batteries. They're gonna get set right here on a shelf so they can plug right into the outlet that'll go right here. Then the only other thing I've done so far is I ran this piece of oriented strand board across the top here in order to drill some holes in. That's where our can lights are gonna go. Consequently, there's the same lights that we have in our garage. I just had 3 left over. And 20 minutes later, after getting 75 different things, I think I'm ready to cut the hole. Safety first. So we got this hole saw here, which I've only ever cut drywall with this hole saw. I'm not sure if it and the OSB board are going to play nice together, but you're here to find out with me. Not so much. Would have been a lot easier if I'd done this before I hung that up. Well, I moved the operation outside here to make it a little bit easier and got one hole done here. But as I was getting the second hole drilled out, I think I destroyed my cheap tool shop right angle drill. Like the motor's turning, but nothing's spinning. Pause. Plan B, jigsaw. Awkward. Actually, that was a lot easier. Figured we'd do a check here real quick while it's down, see if the lights fit in the hole good. I actually love these lights. These lights are fantastic. We've had these in the garage for a while now, and they've been working great. We haven't had any go out on us or anything like that. So let's see how they fit. Gotta fold these tabs down. These are almost exactly like the ones we just did in the power box, just a bigger version. Look at that. That is a beautiful thing. Should open up the power box. And here's your connecting wires. They even give you some wire nuts. Got your hot, your neutral, and your ground right here. So just punch a hole out, run the wires in here, connect it, punch a hole out here, and run them over to the next light. Okay, so that worked way better. This is our second smaller piece that we needed to get the last light in. Just get this board here and get our pole to hold this up for us. Beautiful. Well, my mic cut out and the gimbal died, but we're back and managed to finish up wiring the lights. So there's wire running across there connecting all of those, coming down behind that rafter right there. You can see it peeking out right here. And then we got it right here ready to come down after I drill a hole to the light switch. Also got the junction box attached to the wall here, and I'm going to need a couple pieces of conduit. Up here is junction box where this will come up and go up into the solar panels on this side right up here. This will be the MC4 cable, and then out the side here got holes cut. Got these in here for, one is for the outlets, one is for the switches. Well, I got the light switch box in place. Going to go ahead and put the outlet box in place next. One thing about this, trying to make this video, is it is so hot out here during the day. I just can't work on it for any more than like 20 or 30 minutes before I'm just dripping wet with sweat. So it's really kind of hard to film things when I just come down and do a couple of little quick things. Let me show you what we've got done. There is the inverter remote hooked in with a couple of blocks. Got the wire running right through this stud over to here, up through the sill plates, all the way over above into that smaller junction box, then down the conduit, running through here into the bigger junction box. And for now, I just have it kind of loose, just hanging out here. Comes down though and is plugged in to the box. Right now, the light is being provided by the inverter from the box, but it's directly from the box to the light, not through that. That being said though, I did hook up this switch right here, and that is running up to control those three lights we installed earlier. Same thing, those are the two wires coming out of here up through the sill plate. One runs to the lights and one runs again over to that small junction box, down the big junction box, and connects. I actually have two wires coming out of this conduit, and then using those Wago clips, and then here is the extension cord that runs to the box. Got a GFCI and a regular outlet installed everything is wired up, so let's see if everything works. Here's the inverter cable running over to the door for the remote, plugged into the box, and then here is the power cord running down out of that junction box. Now as soon as we plug this in here, since the inverter is on via this switch right here on the box, those lights up above are going to turn on as soon as we plug this in. And there we go. All 3 lights are working, turned on. I already checked, they're pulling 12 watts a piece, which is just what they're supposed to pull. So that is 36 watts in those lights right there. By contrast, this ring light pulls about 120 just by itself. So I'm gonna turn the inverter off from the box here, and it's gonna go pitch dark real quick, and then I'm gonna hit the inverter remote switch up on the wall and turn everything back on. Here we go. If I can find it, there it is. There goes the inverter back on. As soon as that fan gets done running, the light should turn on. So I just turned it on from here, and if we don't necessarily want the overhead lights on, but we still want everything to be juiced up and powered, we can just flip this switch here, and that turned those 3 overhead lights off. Flip the switch again, and there we go. These outlets right here are also functioning correctly. Really the next thing to do is to start taking the wires from both the switch and the outlets over top of the door and down the wall over here to the other couple locations. We have the switch in the wall there, and then some outlets down low across the bottom there. One thing I gotta show you is running the drill through these and the amount of sawdust that gets spewed around. It's kind of fun. Here, let me show you. But since I got the outlets wired up, all I have to do is plug the drill in here and go ahead and drill a hole. You gotta check out the amount of sawdust that comes out of this. I just kind of gotta close my eyes and hold my breath. Hey, you can hear the inverter kick on. That's the battery box running the drill. If I keep acting like it's a big deal that the battery box works, it's because it is a big deal because I made it and it actually functions the way I intended it to. It's just crazy. All right, now I actually have to work on this switch. So I'm gonna turn the light off there. We're actually gonna turn off the inverter from here so that we can run it straight off of the box and not through any of the wiring, so it's safe to work on. Of course, remembering to unplug it. So please keep in mind, I am no electrician. I'm just doing this of my own accord and at my own risk. So this isn't really a how-to, this is more entertainment. And I mainly say that, well, because it's true, but it reminded me to say it because I'm getting ready to do a 3-way switch, which is just a little trickier than your normal switches, just more wires involved and trying to hook them up in all the right places. And in case you don't know, what a 3-way switch does is if you want to have lights that are controlled from 2 different switches, like if you have ceiling lights in your house and you want to be able to turn it off when you come into the room from one side and then turn it off when you leave the room on the other side. So I want to be able to turn the deck lights out there on from here when we come in, but also be able to turn them off while we're outside without having to come in. In order to do that, you have to make sure you get the right wire. This is 14-3. The 14 means it's 14 gauge wire, and the 3 means that there's 4 wires in it. There's 3 main wires, and then there's a ground, which makes the 4th wire. So I need access to the Wagos that are behind here. I just screwed this in for testing. So we'll go ahead and take this out. So stripped one end to go into the Wago. We're gonna take another end and strip enough to be able to do a loop on it to hook it to the switch terminal. Just gonna get a little loop on there and that lets it connect in. You just wanna put this on such that when you rotate the screw, it actually pulls the wire in instead of kind of kicking it out. Stuff's always harder to do when you're filming it. There we go. Stick it in the Wago clip and close it. Bam. Easy peasy. So here you can see what we mean by the 4 wires. You got your hot here, your neutral here, your ground right here, and then this is the extra wire that you have because it's a 3-way switch. All right, before I get this shoved into the box, got the ground right here. We got the red wire on this side. And coming over here, we got the jumper from the other switch coming out of the Wago to here. Then the hot coming out of this side, and this is our 14-3 wire. Got the white one coming into this Wago down here. Now let's see if I can get it all back in the box. See if we can go ahead and get this plate on here while we're at it. Now, why they still use flatheads for these screws, I do not know. Well, you faithful few, as per our usual arrangement, it is scorching out here. I'm sweating through my shirt, and it's just not fun to be out here. So I'm gonna call it quits for working right now, but a couple things I wanna show you. Did get the 14-3 wire put in across there. It comes down right over here for the exterior 3-way switch. And also the 14-2 wire is just following right along with it. It's gonna run down there to the outlets running across the windows. So a couple other things I've managed to get done in the meantime is, one of them is the shelf here in the corner. This is where we're gonna put the battery charging thingies, and also installed a piece of slat board, painting it the same color and same paint as we did on the floor here. Put a couple of the aluminum support sleeves in there, and this is just going to be used to be able to hang up things like, you know, I don't know, garden shovels, and maybe even hanging up the mower on it. Well, the only thing I have left to do is install that 3-way switch, put in 3 outlets, 2 lights, 2 solar panels, but to do that requires me cutting a bunch of holes into our siding. So hey, if you want to see me potentially ruin our shed, tune in next week where we will do the rest of the shed electrification build. Hey, just want to thank y'all so much for watching, and you all have a great day.